Hello again. I have in the past discussed advertisements in newspapers and magazines and on the television which appear to show a Britain where everybody is black, and I've expressed the view that this is strange. The trend is spreading now, and I'm seeing it increasingly in material designed for children, almost as though it's part of a propaganda campaign. I have been looking at this book, which was published in Britain this year, so it's quite up to date. It's designed to brainwash small children into thinking that they must go to school, otherwise they will remain ignorant and unhappy. Or to quote from the back of the thing, it encourages readers to make positive choices. My chief interest in the thing was that it had been written to discourage home education, which I find irritating. I think I've mentioned that I have a particular interest in home education. I didn't send my child to school at all. This book tries to prove or to suggest to children that they can't be educated at home, or that it's a bad thing, or they will miss out if they are educated at home. For example, on page 8, the father says to his daughter, "So you don't want to learn amazing facts or play an instrument or take part in sports day?" And it tells us schools have way more equipment than you'll find at home. As though no child could possibly learn amazing facts at home or learn to play an instrument there, which is ridiculous. When first I picked up this book and looked through it, I assumed that it was probably an American publication, specifically aimed at black children. In America, about 15% of the population are African American. There's quite a market for books that are targeted especially at black people. In Britain, though, only between 3 and 5% of people are black. This means that if you pick a person at random from the country, the odds against he or she being black are roughly 20 to 1. Which means that if you're illustrating a book such as this, only 1 in 20 of the people featured would be black, if it were to be a realistic portrayal of Britain, that is. Let's have a look at how this country is actually shown, and then ask ourselves a few questions. Okay, this is page 12. Here's Jemima and her grandmother at breakfast. Of course, in a with it and up-to-date book like this, you would hardly expect a child to sit at the breakfast table with her mother and father. That would just be weird. On that page, both people are black. On the next page, we have 5 black faces as opposed to 1 white face. Okay, the next page is about a different family. This is Tyler and his mother. And on this page we have 3 black faces. What about the next page? The next page we have 5 black faces, Chinese boy and a white person. Right, okay. Whatever country is being portrayed here, it's definitely not Britain, where, as I said earlier, black people form just 1 in 20 of the population. I took the trouble to look into this book a bit, which is, by the way, written by a white woman called Kate Barnum, illustrated by a white guy called Patrick Corrigan, and published by an English company, Franklin Watts. I rang the publisher because I'm curious to know about such things, and they told me that the book is exclusively directed at the British market, but they wouldn't discuss the ethnicity of the illustrations. I suppose then that we must use our own initiative to work out what is going on here. Right, this is a book in a series of books, and there's 6 in the series. Perhaps people can see these 6 books here. You will observe that of 6 books, each showing a child on the cover, only one of those children is white. This means that 85% of the children are black or Asian and only 15% are white. This is precisely the opposite to the real percentages in Britain, where of course 85% of the population is white and only 15% are visible minorities. Let's ask ourselves why the author of the book, the illustrator and the publisher would all get together in this way to present a wholly false and misleading image of Britain. It can hardly be accidental. Those involved must have known that they were creating an impression quite at odds with reality. It seems to me this book is not a descriptive one at all, but rather prescriptive. That is to say, they don't show the world as it actually is, but as those who produced it would like it to be or think that it should be. Are children being persuaded that this is the way the world should be, with white people a small minority? Can anybody come up with another explanation? As I say, I'm seeing this increasingly with children's books in this country.